Have you ever imagined a strategy that would not only get you accepted into your dream college, but would get your work and career be a success? Well, hi, today I am Alice, and today I will present my strategy that contains the 4 pillars to guide you to the success. So this strategy is based on be yourself, be brilliant, and be different. Well, I have created this strategy by looking to the trajectory of famous and successful people. 2 big names that used this strategy was Albert Einstein and Jane Goodall. So now let's move to the first pillar, the academic. Well, at this pillar, the academic work is shown. Well, the good grades are very important for the application process. And good grades as in the SAT and NAME or at the TOEFL. The good grades does not impact in your application process, but impacts on your life because it develops the habit of studying, searching for new things, and searching to understand something that you didn't understand before. And has to the academic awards, the academic courses, and the recommendations. The more that you have of those, the more you have the best job position and will be more prepared to the universities. So the second pillar, extracurricular. This one is where you show who you are. So it's where you show who you are out of the school most of all. Basically, if you are applying as some careers has to connect with the extracurricular. Like for example, if you're applying for being a diplomat for international relations, in your extracurricular, on the curricular, you have to put the MUNs. That it's something that diplomats do. So we'll show to universities that you are more prepared than others, that you're perfect for this. You have to put all the things and the perfect profile to show to the universities that you are the best for this. But these extracurriculars are not just for the application process, but you can use to your life. Everything has to have a balance, so you can just work because you will be tired and sad. So that is when enters the extracurricular, to be happy and relax, a hobby. So now let's go to the third pillar, the voluntary. That is most used on the application process because universities ask for hours of work community. And most people use and do this work, this hours of work community. And it's okay to do, but you will be the same as others. So being the same will not make them choose you. So how to be different in this part? Well, you can do an institute or an NGO, or as we know, ONG. That will show that you're dedicated in it, and that you are different, and that you're good for the community. And universities like a lot of this. And this volunteering part just doesn't help into the application process, but it helps in your life because good is like an investment. When you do, it comes back to you and makes you feel better too. Oh, it rhymes. And 4 is the last one, the passion and the mental health. This part is like to know yourself. To apply to something, you have to, the career that you will choose, you have to love. Because things that you love, you do better than something that you doesn't. So we'll show that you are very into it. And it has to have a good mental health too. Like if you lose, you can just go there and cry. No, you have to try again and get up and you will get it. That's it. You have to have a good mental health, the passion, and be happy of what you choose. And that's it, the strategy that I have made. Like be yourself, be you, and I almost say the same things, but be brilliant and be different. That's it. Thank you.
What is an invisible disability? First of all, what is a disability? The dictionary describes disability as an illness, injury, or condition that makes it difficult for someone to do some things that other people do, and that is usually permanent or lasts for a long time. Everybody here knows what invisible means, right? So, basically, an invisible disability is a disability in which people cannot see, like epilepsy, for example, a neurological disorder that causes abnormal electrical discharges in the brain, causing seizures. People can't know you have it unless you're actively seizing, but that doesn't mean that you're not disabled all the time. Imagine you wake up every day with a certain amount of spoons. I know it sounds silly, but bear with me. If you're not disabled, you could wake up with thousands to millions of spoons every day, and every action you take costs you a few of the spoons you gained during your sleep. Very few, like 1 or 2 even, depending on what you're doing. But what if you only got 60 spoons after waking up? And because of your disability, every action costs you more and more. Just getting ready for the day costs you 20 of them, and you're barely even started yet. Now you're awake and ready. You have 40 spoons left. Buckle up, because it's going to be a very full day. You get in your car and drive to the doctor's for the 5th appointment of the month. And fortunately for you, there's a disabled spot right there. You don't feel like you deserve to use it. I mean, it's not like you're in a wheelchair or anything. But you can't walk long distances without feeling sick, so you have no other option. You get out of your car and start walking towards the office, and then you get stopped by someone. They're sure you're just an extremely egocentric person that has the nerve to park in a disabled spot for the convenience. No matter how many times this happens, you never get used to it. You walk back to your car and show them your disability pass. They're still not fully convinced, but they leave regardless. After that exhausting interaction, all you want to do is go to the doctors. Maybe this time you'll actually be taken seriously. Despite your diagnosis, most doctors still don't believe you, nor do they want to treat you. All you want is to control your symptoms, and yet you get called dramatic all the time. You go in, there's a line at the front desk. Standing up exacerbates your symptoms a lot. But there is no preferential line, so you have no choice but to stay there. You sit down and you wait. Doctors are always late, so you wait there for a long time. And then you finally get called in. This is your 17th doctor because you're always getting referred to specialists. Your condition is too complex for most professionals. You go in with your 30-page binder that costs you 3 spoons just to carry around. You show them to your doctor in hopes of getting taken seriously, though that rarely works. And today was no different. You gave them to the doctor and he refused to even take a look. "You look fine," he says. "I saw the tests I ran and they're normal. But out of the thousands of tests that exist, he only ordered 15 of them? You know something is wrong. I mean, you have a binder full of results to say otherwise." You think back to the years it took you to get diagnosed. You started feeling sick at 14 and it never went away. It took you 2 years just to tell your parents. And after so many doctors telling you you were fine, your parents stopped taking you to them, which made you feel absolutely crazy. I mean, you know something's wrong, don't you? But, oh well, you can't really do anything about another bad doctor. So you leave and go back to your car. After that disappointing but predictable outcome, you call your friends and cancel plans again. They're usually very understanding, but after the 3rd time in a week, they get a little tired. You don't have enough energy to care though, which makes them even madder. But there's nothing you can do, so you hang up on them. You definitely pay for that later, but you just don't have enough spoons to pay for it now. You drive home. Oh, wait, you ran out of spoons. You're lucky you got home this time. Once, you ran out of spoons in the middle of class. Now that was a hard day. You have so many things to do yet. You need to go to work, you need to go grocery shopping, you need to make dinner, you need to wash the dishes, you need to organize your pills, you need to do a lot of things, but no more spoons. So there's nothing you can do. You come in, take your day clothes off, and barely manage to put on a comfy shirt. You go to bed, but you have no more energy to fall asleep. So you just lay there with negative 15 spoons, knowing that tomorrow will be impossible, because when you use more spoons than you can afford, you wake up the next day in a terrible flare-up. Thinking about the friends you most likely just lost, the dream careers you had to give up on, every night you lay awake grieving the life you could have had. You imagine the scenario as you. Now, try to imagine again, really quickly, but as the people outside. You woke up fine and rested, you got ready with no effort, and you went to the doctor for your annual checkup. You see a college-aged girl just regularly walking out of her car parked in a disabled spot. Infuriating, right? Ugh, she probably took that pass from her grandma, but whatever, you're running late for your appointment. You see that same girl look tired, standing for just 5 minutes in line. She's probably just sedentary, right? You see where I'm going with this, don't you? You can't know what's going on with people. How could you? You're not inside their bodies. You're not inside their brains. You don't know what happened or didn't happen to them. You don't know their battles, their struggles, and their challenges, just like they don't know yours. You might think you're speaking up when you challenge people for doing things you don't consider to be theirs to do, but most likely you're just making a fool out of yourself. Sometimes the best thing you can say is just nothing at all. Sometimes the best way you can help is by minding your own business, and most importantly, sometimes the best way you can support the people you love is by ignoring their problem. People want to be seen as a whole, not as their issues or their diseases. So if you love them, treat them as such. Thank you.
Hello guys, my name is Luiza, and today I'm going to talk about universities and how I can get you into the best universities in the world. Universities rankings were created to assess a performance university in the global stage. So, do you think or have idea what makes a prestigious university? Now I say for you, knowledge transfer, and one of the important things is knowledge transfer and international outlook. So, some of top universities are Harvard, MIT, Oxford, Stanford, Princeton, and University of Cambridge. How do you think this is university? This university is really demanding and competitive. So the real thing you should ask yourself is, this university is really good for you? You should always look for the best fits with the beginnings of their wants, needs, strengths, and goals. So it's not easy to decide your career. So let's make a look at some courses you are really able to take. Art, science, environmental studies, religious studies, law, business, medicine, nursery, theater, and music. I could say there, mention all the courses you can take, but that's not the point. The point is, to go to the university, you need to study a lot. But the other point is, I want to make my parents proud for going to one of the best universities in the world. But it's not so simple to go there without studying a lot. My dream is to live in USA, but I know this is not easy for me because I'm Brazilian. So, those of the part more serious is one of the best things in your life. So, this is my tale and I hope you like it. Thank you.
Wow, social media has undeniably become a powerful force in our lives, but do we fully understand the depth of its influence? Most of us don't even realize it, but social media's algorithms actively shape our opinions and perceptions on nearly every topic. Think about it, when you scroll through our feeds, we're shown posts, news, and opinions tailored to keep us engaged, often aligning for pre-existing beliefs and biases. But why is this potentially dangerous? Well, let me break it down. Social media can influence public opinion on its individual level. Imagine it can do on a massive scale. Entire populations can be nudged on a certain direction, influenced by the content they consume day after day, without even realizing it. This gives social media an unprecedented level of control over societies and governments, which raises a huge ethical question. If social media has the power to influence people's views, it also has the power to manipulate outcomes on a global scale, from elections to policy support. But it's not just about politics, right? Social media can also influence how we feel about ourselves, and it's often not positive. Studies increasingly show a connection between social media use and rising rates of depression and anxiety, particularly among young people. When we're constantly exposed to a highlight reel of other people's lives, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. We see others carefully creating moments of happiness, luxury, and success, and we start to question why our own lives don't measure up. But here's the thing, social media is a creative illusion. People share what they want others to see. Those images of perfect bodies, happy relationships, and extravagant lifestyles, they're rarely the full story. Behind the scenes, many of these perfect lives are far from it. People don't share their bad days, their struggles, or the insecurities. And yet, when we're exposed to these idealized lives day after day, we start to feel inadequate. But social media doesn't just affect individuals, it can also shape culture. Trends, beauty standards, and even our understanding of self-worth are influenced by what's popular online. Let's consider beauty filters, for example. Millions of people use those daily, which can subtly alter our perception of what's considered attractive, and over time, it can warp our expectations about ourselves and others. What can we do? Well, it's essential to use social media consciously and be aware of its effects on our mental health and worldview by recognizing that we only see a filtered version of reality. We can start to detach our self-worth from realistic online standards. But I want to make sure that social media isn't inherently bad. It connects people, spreads ideas, and even inspires change. But without awareness of its influence, we risk becoming passive participants in our own lives, allowing algorithms to decide what we see, think, and feel. So let's reclaim our agency and ensure we are the ones in control, not the algorithms. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Do you know what family is? In my opinion, family is the most important thing of our lives. But do you know why? Because family is our sources of love and care. They support us and help us ensure our well-being, and they also play a crucial role in our development and learning. It is in the family that we first experience of belonging and being to socialize with the world. Study shows that people with close family connections tend to be healthier, happier, and more resilient. This is because families create a safe space where we feel understood and valued, which is essential for our emotional well-being. They help us develop empathy, kindness, and the ability to build strong relationships with others. While every family is unique, the common trait is the love and support they provide. It is important to reorganize and appreciate these bonds, as they are the basis of our lives. Whether in sharing meals, celebrating important moments, or simply spending time together, these moments contribute to a more stronger and connected family, and nurture those relationships. They are the foundation that help us become the best versions of our lives. And before I finish this TED Talk, I want to give you a challenge. Spend time with your family. Thank you for listening. I hope you like it. Bye-bye.
I've always seen people have some high position dress really well, walk with confidence, and then start wondering why. Why does someone who's a boss of a company always seem to dress better than their employees? Why do women have to work with high heels and men with suits? I think this starts with a stereotype of what people in power should look like. Can you imagine someone who is a boss of a company working with flip-flops, shorts, pretty t-shirt? When they talk with you, they don't even look into your eyes and stay still. Would you take this person seriously? If the answer is no, why not? People that usually work in a high position wear fancy clothes, like suits, high heels, and act in a way that gives the impression that they know what they're talking about and you may follow what they're saying. Most of them are not even feeling comfortable with it, but because of the stereotypes, they need to be dressed this way. When you feel confident, you have better chances of showing people what you're good at. It is important to recognize that your clothes and your body language can impact a lot on how others perceive us. But these are the only factors related to authority. Skills, knowledge, and communication abilities often speak louder than appearance, and they need to be connected on your image and actions. Depending on your career, your position, or what you're going to do, like travel, meeting, or just work in an office, you're obligated to be dressed up with fancy clothes. But in today's work environment, companies are beginning to value authentic self-expressions. For example, in tech industries, dressing casually has become a norm even for those in leadership, showing that what truly matters is often the quality, creativity, and the ideas you put on the table. Now, think about someone who doesn't work in a higher position, that is a female employee among 1,000. Suppose that someday this woman goes to work with high heels, dress, ponytail, makeup on. What would you think about her? According to stereotypes, others might think that she's trying to show off or pass the message that she's ready for a position that is not even hers. Social pressure can be more intense for women who may feel compelled to meet certain beauty standards or dress in a particular way to be taken seriously. This can add an extra layer of stress and create unfair challenges in their professional lives. The last example. I want you guys to imagine yourselves working in a big company. What would you wear? It is something that here we define as fancy. If yes, why are you wearing clothes like this? It is because you're trying to show to other people that you're ready for a higher position. Are you feeling comfortable with it, or you just want to dress up like everybody else? And if you're not wearing any fancy clothes, why are you not wearing it? It is because you're afraid of what people will think or say about you. There are a lot of reasons why people dress up with fancy clothes. Research points that personal image works as a communication tool that helps people build social bonds, impacting social behavior and the feeling of belonging. When a person establishes enough self-esteem to be who they are and not who they are expected to be, this strengthens their identity. The way that you communicate to others and the way that you act really counts on your confidence and with the message that you want to deliver. Your body language is an example. Body language is a form of nonverbal communication that indicates facial expression, hand gestures, poses, and other physical behavior. According to some specialists, there are some poses that indicate power. For example, when you feel powerful, you just expand your body like this, and when you feel weak, you just shrink, cross your arms and legs. We cannot forget to talk about self-esteem. People put pressure on beauty standards, especially because of social media. They always seem to have a perfect life and pass the image that everything is under control. But sometimes you don't have a good relationship with yourself, and you're trying to improve. But how? Dressing in a certain way or adopting confidence can boost self-esteem and help people be prepared for their roles. However, it is essential that these choices align with who we truly are, rather just fitting a stereotype. Through this TED Talk, I hope I inspired each one of you to reflect on how expectations around appearance can sometimes lead us act in a way that don't fully represent ourselves. Let's try to create a space where people feel free to express their authentic identities, because genuinely comes from being comfortable with who you are. Thank you so much.
Have you ever passed through the problem and thought that you could overcome it? My name is Laura, and in this presentation I will try to demonstrate how to learn from something that could have been bad. Have you ever managed to go through the problem and learn something from it? When I was around 5 years old, my grandmother passed from then on. I was diagnosed with vitiligo, that is an autoimmune disease that pigments the skin, causing spots. At first, at this stage, I didn't care so much about the possible consequences of the disease. But what was bad on this treatment is that forcing me to wait in medical settings, contact with people in advanced stages of the disease, and laser processes. The treatment was unsuccessful. Even so, the treatment that required me some sacrifices allowed me to have constant contact with the profession of dermatology, awakening me to recognize this important profession. Even so, I was very young, this experience made me to consider this important profession. There are many famous people that transformed personal problems into professions, missions, and discoveries. Here are some examples that you can learn something from it. Malala. After being shot by a Taliban in Pakistan for defending girls' education, Malala became a global activist and the youngest person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. J.K. Rowling. Before writing Harry Potter settings, Rowling faced with financial problems and depression. Today, she is one of the most successful authors of this world. You are the type of person who gives in or who doesn't give up on your goals. Everyone reacts to problems differently and have different ways to overcome it, but the difference is the results obtained. Know that change is part of life. Everyone changes homes, schools, and jobs. Change is part of human evolution and always should be viewed positively. There are some tips that can help you to be more resilient when faced with problems. Be open to learning. Never close yourself to new things. Don't be negative. Try to face difficult situations with optimism without playing the victim. Keep a positive attitude. Have a different view of negative situations. Learn from problems you already experienced. Connect with people who matter. Keeping constant contact with family and friends is really important. When problems arise, don't isolate yourself. Accept help. Realize your tensions. Problems and stressful situations surround through our lives. So look for activities that can realize your tensions. Meditate, dance, go to therapy, cook, go for a walk. Learn to loud at yourself. Make achievable plans. Setting realistic goals stimulates the mind and gives that feeling of overcoming your own limitations. Remember, it's not the challenge itself that defines your success, but the way you chose to face it. By transforming challenges into opportunities, we can create a brighter future and reach our full potential. Thank you for watching.
Terry Fox was a really brave young man from Canada that with 18 years old, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer and he experienced a lot of pain. So he went to the hospital where he learned that he would need to amputate one of his legs. After this, he had an idea that he would help people with the same disease. He would run across Canada to raise funds, and on average, each person donated $1. His friend accompanied him on his journey. He was behind him on a car. Terry Fox, with 24 years, the cancer spread to his lungs and he passed away. Raising funds is a really good thing and we can help a lot, but that's not all we can do. We can give something priceless, love and support. We can support people by being there for them and never let them give up and seeing them as normal, because they are. Sometimes these people are left behind and they stop going out because they are not invited to things. They stay at home. Diagnosed people pass through really difficult things during their treatment, but our role is to keep this person engaged and fightful that everything will be okay. Keep your relationship as normal and balanced as possible. These people have to feel part of a group, of a community. They live their treatments intensely, but they are more than that. If we only talk about the disease, this person might feel really bad and they might want to give up. And we can shrink the person down to the disease. Why do these people see them as fragile if they are so strong if they are passing? If I had cancer, I wouldn't be brave as they are, but I think I wouldn't choose to be brave. It's impossible to be tough all the time. We are human beings. We have ups and downs. Just like Terry Fox. He wanted to help people, he died helping. This sad is not only about cancer, Terry Fox, or either. It's about love and support. Think what might the people feel with what you're saying and doing. No matter how difficult the diagnosis can be, our role is to keep this person hopeful and never let them give up. Thanks.
Have you ever reflected on how your parents' figure can change over time? When you were a kid, you see your parent like a hero. You admire them, you try to do everything they do. When you were a teenager, you still see your parents as a good people, but you want your own time with your friends without being bothered. When the adult stage comes, all we want is our parents with us. We miss the everyday support. When you are a little baby, like 2 or 3 months, you see your mom as an extension of yourself, a part of your body. And this happens because of the child brain. The main things that a baby do is drink milk and cry, and both these things require their mom. During the development of a child brain, the way the kids see their parents change, but the way their parents see their kids and how they treat them change too. Because imagine, you're a 25-year-old adult and your mom is giving you a feeding bottle. It wouldn't make sense. When I was about to turn 10 years old, I saw this huge difference in the way my parents treat me. I had more responsibilities, and with those responsibilities, I was pressed by all things I had to do. During time, this was getting better, but not having the 100% of my parents' attention and help was awful. Thousands of times, my parents did things and said things that made me reflect. But most of the time, they didn't notice that was impacting on me. And this is the silence culture. Basically, the silence culture is when you teach something not on purpose. This can happen by listening to something, watching something, and even a different tone of voice. Most of the time, when this happens, the intention of the parents
is not saying something bad to you. It's the opposite. It's showing something good for your life, but not always is possible. One example is when a dad treats a mom in a very bad way. You, as a little kid, will understand that what your dad is doing with your mom is right, and then you will do this on your future. Another silly example is when your mom says, "Please, don't do this," and then she does exactly what she asks you not to. Consequently, you will think, if my mom is doing, why can't I? And then most of the time, you will do what she asks you not to. The impacts of the silence culture are not always nice. Those impacts interfere not only on your behavior, but the way you treat people around you. I have a friend that has problems with her parents, and thousands of times she arrives at school and she takes out her anger on me. Even if I know that she was going through a bad moment, I still got sad. But it took time for me to understand that she didn't do this on purpose. Fighting with your parents or not having a good relationship with them can also impact in your academic life. These include not having a good grade or even not entering in a good university. Because imagine with me, you have a super important test tomorrow and you fight with your parents one day before. I'm sure that you'll not have the same performance as if you were okay with them. Once I read a sentence that a psychologist named Tania Cardoso said. This sentence was, "Some parents did not have the opportunity to fulfill their desires and achievements, so they end up projecting this onto their kid, imposing their wishes, which is quite harmful to the relationship of trust between them." I agree 100% with her. Our parents maybe need to understand that what they thought that was good for the kid, not necessarily it will be good. And our grandparents maybe need to see that what they thought years ago for their kid, our parents, that in their heads was good, not necessarily nowadays it will be good for us, their granddaughters and grandsons. And this is a cycle that we have to break. And the only way that we can break it is by truly knowing your kid and having a good relationship with them. Because it will make an easier way to impose your wishes and show your expectations with the kid. Having said this, I just want you guys to leave questioning yourself. Do you, as a parent, do what is easier for you or what is the best for your kid? Thank you. How is it important to think about your future at a young age? Hi, my name is Sophia, and today I'll be discussing this topic. Let me start by asking you a question. Did you think about your future when you were my age? And if you did, are you currently working on the profession you dream of? Chances are you're not, and that's completely normal. It's natural for our aspirations to change over time. Every kid has already dreaming about being an astronaut or a fireman, and I'm pretty sure you don't know any astronaut. But even adults sometimes switch careers after finding new passions or interests. Think about your future at a young age has benefits. Long-term thinking can be a powerful tool to combat the stress and frustration that come with the unmet short-term goals. When we plan our journey, we gain clarity, making it easier to pursue our dreams with determination and balance. But why should we think about the future? Think about the future is a human characteristic. We make plans, set goals, and imagine how we will be in a few years. This often includes considering if we will succeed or fail. But how should we think about the future? First, it's essential to distinguish between objectives and goals. Objectives are concrete dreams and purposes, and goals are smaller steps that we need to take to achieve those objectives, and both are crucial. And now, how to stay focused on your future? Learn to say no. Be clear what really matters to you and what do you want for your future. Be open to different perspectives. If you be open to different perspectives, you can discover something that you like or want to your future, or sometimes it's just a hobby. For example, paint, write, draw, sing. Another example is me. In my future, I want to be a liar. But for me, write is just a hobby because I think I'm good on that and because I like to write. And Third, know yourself really well. If you don't know yourself and want to discover, your family and your friends are here to support you. But I think that I recommend is you have a moment just to think on you. Like you here, alone, think about your future, think the person you are, think the person you want to be, and the things that you had to do to be that person. And here, the associate. I think that in the moment don't matters to you. But remember, if things don't go as planned, your family and support system are here to help you on the challenge. This is my TED Talk and I hope that you like. Thank you.
Creativity is seeing what others see and thinking what no one else has ever thought. This sentence was spoken by Albert Einstein. I think everyone here knows who he was. I chose it for my TED because it fits exactly into my topic, creativity and innovation. Sometimes the secret is to look at something with a creative look and just innovate it. Creativity and innovation are interconnected, but they are still very different. Creativity is a skill, it's something people can develop with time. Not everyone is born creative. Innovation is an action, it's when we put our hands on for doing something. Actually, creativity and innovation are interconnected because to innovate, we need to use our creative thoughts to do something. But sometimes we don't create something from our own, from scratch. We get others' ideas and just make it better or different. Do you know about cell phones? The one we use almost every day. The one most of you are with it right now. It was not created alone. Like, someone appeared and said, "Oh, cell phone, nice name. I will create an electronic device with it." It was definitely not like that. When the first cell phone was created, telephones already existed. And then, the person who created the cell phone just got the telephone idea and improved it. Sometimes, we already have ideas, but if someone else comes and complements it, everything can change. Hearing each other's ideas can help us more than we imagine. That's collaboration. It's when we get others' ideas and upgrade our own ideas. This is the reason our school places us in centers. I think that almost every student thinks that the centers are not good and not worth it for anything. But yes, they are, and they are very important. Sometimes, when we are not with people we like or that we don't know very well, we don't realize how important that is. This helps us a lot with our creativity because we can see different ideas, perspectives, and opinions from new people. At school, we also work on brainstorming. There are some activities we use to organize our ideas to do something. In companies, they also work with brainstorming, but in a different way, in a more complex way. Everybody must give ideas to help their companies. They can be the most insane and crazy ideas, but there's one rule, a golden rule. Nobody can judge. Nobody can judge anyone. But you're probably thinking, why can't I judge the person if she gives a bad idea? Are you kidding me? Do you think a bad idea exists? No, it doesn't. Every idea is important for something and can help for something, at least for something. Everybody must follow that rule. Because imagine, you are there, sharing your idea calmly, and then someone comes and judges you. She says that your idea is bad and that's not worth it for nothing. Even if we don't realize, inside the person's head, she's scared to give ideas. The pressure the person feels to give ideas, make her less creative. This is the creative block. The creative block is something very serious. It can last minutes, days, or even years. It makes the person stuck and not capable of creating something new. But it's not a disease or something like that. It's a mental problem that is caused for many different reasons. Some of them, the ones that harm most people, are stress, personal problems, mental problems, and even self-doubt. Imagine, if we don't believe in ourselves, who do you think will? We need to put the sentence inside our heads. I can do this, and I will do this. Some more are exhaustion and perfectionism. Some people want everything to be perfect, and it's not the way that our world works. If we want everything to work in a perfect way, we will not be capable of creating something in a normal way. Perfection actually doesn't even exist. And at last, there's fear. But what causes that fear? Isn't it obvious? For some of you, yes, and for some don't. In our daily routine, everybody faces judgment. And why? I don't know. Maybe people don't have anything better to do. But that's not my point. That's not what I'm talking about. Sometimes, even if we give the best ideas, very good ideas, people can judge us. And then we start being scared. At schools, kids who suffer by bullying or by that judgment may have the creative block effects. And that's very serious. Because in our days, creativity is one of the most important resources, or even the most important resource. Sometimes we don't know how to use our creativity for bigger things. For example, creating a TED Talk. But sometimes we just don't develop creativity as much as other people do. But as I said at the beginning of my TED, creativity is a skill some of us have and some of us don't. And again, we can develop creativity, and there are many ways to do it. Some of them are reading. Reading can help us a lot with our creativity, because with it we can learn a lot of things and acquire much more knowledge than we have. Then we start imagining many new things based on what we read. Listening to music, watching movies, working in teams also help us a lot. And playing games. For example, a puzzle. When you are playing a puzzle, you need your mind to work, and that stimulates problem solving and imagination that help our creativity a lot more than you imagine. All of these are just a few ways that you can use to develop your creativity. Just the ones that help you the most. But don't think that your creativity will be developed from one day to another. There's some time to develop your creativity once you lose it. But even if it takes a lot of time, it's not permanent, at least not if you want it to be. And now, after all that conversation about creativity, the ways we use it, lose it, and recover it, you're probably still thinking about the main question of my topic. Can a non-creative person innovate? First, try to think for yourselves. Do you think innovation comes along without any type of creativity? Try to reflect it a lot. The answer for this question is yes, sometimes it does. Try to remember the cell phone example. It wasn't created with creativity. It was just based on something else. Sometimes we don't create something with creativity. We just use our brains to think about something that's already there in our fronts. And also, imagine things that are created by accidents. For example, Coca-Cola. It wasn't created because the person wanted. It was just created because she made an accident. She wanted to mix some leaves with water, and accidentally she mixed it with soda. Then she created something very innovative, but with any creativity. And then, if we change the question, can a non-creative person become innovative? Of course she can. It's just necessary to dedicate herself more and more, because someday her creativity will take her to a very better place, even better than we can imagine. Thank you.